I bet you want to know who's on the radio. Let's talk about it. I tell you what, you won't find a tandem better than these two. Let's talk about it. You ready for this? See, you didn't just stumble upon some random show. Nah, this here is destiny. Jeffery, Renee.
It's almost showtime, people.
Let's talk about it. Live with Jeffery and Renee. Watching is the best decision you'll ever make. Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Only on www.statusnetwork.net. Call or text in live 470-251-4647. Hashtag Let's Talk with Jeffery and Renee.
You know what time it is.
And here are your hosts, Jeffery and Renee.
What is going on, Facebook family? What's going on, Instagram family? It's time for Let's Talk About It Live with Jeffery and Renee. Every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. This is exactly how we do it. Now listen, I know y'all see me sitting here by myself, and my much better looking co-host is not here with me. She will be back with us really, really soon. She's had a couple of things she needs to take care of. And once those are done, she'll be right back with us right here every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. The phone number is 470-251-4647. Now listen, it's a lot of stuff going on this week, and I hope you got your popcorn and you have buckled up, because this is going to be one of those shows. Now don't get it twisted. We don't start our show without paying homage to one of our HBCUs, our historically black colleges and universities, and today will be no different. This week we are spotlighting the trombone section from the Benedict College Band of Distinction. Now this is one of my favorite trombone solos, and this is their interpretation of it. We're going to play this, then we'll come back and get right back into it. Go ahead and roll that clip. All right. Benedict College, the Band of Distinction. Their trombones playing black and blues, one of my favorite fanfares for the trombone section. Now listen, I need y'all to understand something. First of all, I told y'all that based on Wisconsin law, that Kyle Rittenhouse had met some of the qualifications to be classified as a person who was defending himself. I told you that he retreated. He ran. I told you that he tried to avoid the conflict. I told you that. Now, I had a feeling in my gut that he wasn't going to be found guilty of murder. I thought he was going to be found guilty for the gun charge. And lo and behold, the judge had that charge thrown out because the barrel of the gun, the AR-15 assault rifle that he was carrying, did not hit the definition or meet the definition or standard required by Wisconsin law to bar him from being able to carry it. I need y'all to understand something now. If that ain't some bull, okay, because the rifle, the barrel of the rifle wasn't quite short enough, he was actually able to carry the assault rifle legally. Now, let's not get it twisted. We all know that there's some brothers in New York who have picked up a gun charge when no gun was found. No gun was submitted into evidence, and the judge still dropped a gun charge on them in New York. Don't get it twisted. I need you to understand there are parts of what the judge did that I actually agree with. Let me make my point. First of all, it is not supposed to be easy for the prosecution to prove that you are guilty. In this country, there is the presumption of innocence. Therefore, the judge is not there to make it easy on the prosecution to prosecute you. I actually believe in the spirit of innocent until found guilty. I can agree with what the judge was doing. Here is where I draw the line. Good gracious. That doesn't mean that you completely eliminate everything the prosecution could do. That doesn't mean you say, no, you can't pull this type of evidence up. This is the evidence I'm talking about that the prosecution wanted to submit. On Kyle Rittenhouse's social media, he posted something saying, and I'm paraphrasing, I wish I was there. I would need to roll up, armed and equipped. He said that on his social media when talking about a different protest, what he needed to do. He was not authorized to protect anybody's property. That's not how this works. You don't roll through and protect people's property, deputizing yourself. He wasn't authorized to do that. He still never should have been there. He wasn't going there to protect and serve and use his medical badge that he was earning. Now, he wasn't doing none of that stuff. Don't get it twisted. Other videos showing him being a bit more antagonistic, it wasn't allowed. So please understand me. I don't believe the judge should make it easy for the prosecution to find somebody guilty. It should be difficult. The burden of proof should be a high standard. At the same time, it should not be an impossible standard. Let's talk about something else here. Vigilante justice. I need people to understand. That's the same stuff that the people in Brunswick, Georgia, the McMichaels, are trying to claim. They were trying to protect their neighborhood on their Facebook community page. They were talking about all the crimes that were happening. No. You are not deputized to run your ass out there and then accuse somebody of something that you have no proof that they did. When I say no proof, I mean zero proof. When I say they had no inkling that Ahmaud Arbery had done anything wrong, they had absolute zero proof. None, but they ran their asses out there anyway. Now, I believe that some of these good old boys, some of these, what's the group? I can't even think of the group. But some of them feel emboldened now. Like if we find reason to protest something, they need to show up and protect property. I promise you, that is not the right way to go. You are placing more value on property than you place on a human life. That should tell you something about yourself. I want to protect this property over protecting your right to peacefully protest. Okay, let's say you're there just to make sure things doesn't get out of hand. Well, who told you you needed to be the person who regulates things getting out of hand or not getting out of hand? Nobody told you to do this. Not one person. There's this thing in America where white people think they need to regulate us. And that is something that absolutely has to change. We are not here to conform to your standards. We are not here to be regulated by you. We are not suspicious. We actually aren't the biggest purveyors of violence in this country, or biggest perpetrators of violence in this country. We are not. As far as proximity crimes, yes, we lead in that category. Proximity crimes happen in every community. More white people kill more white people. More Asian people kill more Asian people. More Hispanic people kill more Hispanic people. Then black people kill Hispanic. Then black people kill white. Then white people kill Hispanic. Then white people kill Asian. Here's the thing, though. For some reason, you have stigmatized and basically made the black existence the boogeyman, when the real boogeyman is you. I mean, it just is what it is. You're the real boogeyman. And what you're really afraid of is you're afraid that we are going to deliver a justice that you rightfully deserve. That's not even how we move. We don't even move like that. You know what we want? We want the same thing that you get. We want the exact same treatment that you get. We deserve the same treatment that you get. Don't sit up there in your affluent neighborhood and think, oh, everything is great and the suburbs are wonderful. Why can't they do the same thing in the ghetto? They can't do the same thing in the ghetto because the ghetto was designed to be oppressive. It wasn't designed to be an economic empowerment zone. There's not investment there like there is in the suburbs. And then guess what? When they do start to invest in areas that have been economically depressed, guess what? They start gentrifying it. And instead of the families that are there reaping the benefits of it, here come your pasty ass in the neighborhood forcing people out. It's almost like a damn virus. We're going to call this one the coronavirus, the W wave. You can guess what? The WT wave or the YT wave, whatever you want to call it. But what I'm getting here is I'm getting a lot of frustration over imaginary wrongs. Things that haven't even happened to you. You are imagining people taking your jobs as an example. We need to short the border up because they're taking American jobs. Bull. You don't want to work the jobs that the immigrants come in and they build their base off of. You don't want to do it. And then when your state tells you, hey, we need that immigrant labor, you still get mad. When a Republican says, hey, we got to do something because our farmers are hurting, now don't do that, you still get mad. I need y'all to understand that you get mad at stuff you imagine, stuff that's in your head. You fear losing out. You fear not being included. You fear not having so much that you would rather deny someone else so that you can be comfortable. If you are so righteous, if you're such a Christian, if your race is so superior, why do you have to have rules that ensures that you will stay at the top? I think it's because you know good and damn well, on an even playing field, you are just average. On an even playing field, you will not be at the top of the heap. On an even playing field, you will not be there. That's the only reason someone will do something to cheat or to ensure that they stay in a position of power. All right, now look, I need y'all to understand something. First of all, let's just talk about this Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I got a lot of reaction videos to this. One of them that I want to talk about, this is the first one. The reaction to Kyle Rittenhouse's verdict has been mixed. You got some people that are absolutely upset. You can't be surprised, though. I mean, don't get it twisted. You absolutely cannot be surprised. You can't be. Not at this point. You got some people that are actually happy. A couple of congressmen have said that, hey, I will bring Kyle Rittenhouse to my office so he can be a part of my staff. Matter of fact, another one said, I'll arm wrestle you to see who can get this guy on my staff. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but this first video, we just want to talk about some of the reaction to the Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty verdict on all counts, with the 6th count being thrown out. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, and not guilty. Go ahead and roll that clip.
Karen Bloom and John Huber, they're the parents of Anthony Huber, who of course was one of the 2 victims of this shooting, one of the 2 men who Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed last August. In a statement from Karen Bloom and John Huber, they say, quote, Mr. Rittenhouse came to Kenosha armed to kill. Kenosha police encouraged him to act violently, and our son is dead as a result. That statement went on to say that we are so proud of Anthony, and we love him so much. He is a hero who sacrificed his own life to protect other innocent civilians. We're also hearing from United States Senator Ron Johnson. He tweeted just a short time ago that, quote, I believe justice has been served in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I hope everyone can accept the verdict, remain peaceful, and let the community of Kenosha heal and rebuild. We're also hearing from Brian Stile. He, of course, is the representative of Kenosha District 1. In a statement, he said, quote, I encourage our community to be calm and express their views lawfully and peacefully. We have seen the horrors of destruction in Kenosha, and it is my top priority to promote public safety by working with our local officials, law enforcement officers, and our entire community. He went on to say that as we move forward, we must support each other and stand against any violence or destruction. Representative Gwen Moore from the Milwaukee area also taking to Twitter just a short time ago saying, quote, a system that legitimizes vigilante murder is deeply broken. And finally, a statement from the ACLU. We're hearing from the interim executive director of the ACLU of Wisconsin, and that statement saying the events in Kenosha stem from the deep roots of white supremacy in our society's institutions. That went on to say that they underscore that the police do not protect communities of color in the same way they do white people, end quote. And so, again, a lot of reaction coming in after that verdict. Again, not guilty of all charges.
All right. So you got a cross-section of people who are for the verdict and people who are against the verdict. Here's the part that I just want to really make sure I underscore. Look, when Kyle Rittenhouse was outside, there was a curfew, 8 o'clock curfew. He approached the police and the police said, and I'm paraphrasing, we're glad you're out here. We're glad you guys are out here. We're glad you guys are supporting us. You know what the police should have said? There is an 8 o'clock curfew. Get your ass in the house. That's what they should have said. You don't empower somebody. You don't empower somebody. I don't care what side he was on. He was not there to protect property. He was not deputized to protect property. He did not have the right to protect the property. The Wisconsin law does state, and I'm paraphrasing the law, it does state that people can't come and just usurp the color of law or insert yourself as a legal authority. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but he was not legally able to protect property in place of the police. In Wisconsin, the police should have sent his ass home. He was breaking the curfew too. But no, they basically patted him on the back. They encouraged his behavior. And that leads to this sense that white people got to protect the community. Okay, let's talk about protecting the community. If that is your main desire. If you really want to protect the community, the first thing that you do is you make sure that there is economic opportunity everywhere. Economic opportunity everywhere. Not just in your neighborhood, but in your community. Not just in your community, but in your city, not just in your city, but in your state, not just in your state, but in the entire country. Do you really think that people who are economically depressed don't want to do better? Really? Is your head that far up your ass that you don't think that somebody who sees better will not do better if they had an opportunity, a real opportunity to do better? No, you don't see that. Here is what you see. Why are they out there selling drugs and hurting their own kind? Why are they not building their own communities up? Okay, let's start there. Now, how do the drugs get into communities? How do they get there? NWA said it best. We ain't got no damn boats. We ain't got no planes. How are the drugs getting in our communities? You won't even think about that. You won't go that far because it's an inconvenient truth for you. Okay, let's go a little further. How did economically depressed people get in the ghetto? How did they get in the ghetto? Okay, how did your grandfather get that VA loan when he came back from Vietnam? How? Oh, okay. How did some of your families get free land grants? How did they get those? I want you to think about these things now. And then when you talk about people not pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, excuse me, how did the people in Tulsa lose their land? How did they do that? How did they lose it? How did Lake Lanier get here? How did it get here? What town was flooded? Property stolen again, people forced off their land to make a damn lake. How did that happen in Georgia? I need you to hear where I'm going with this. First of all, what I'm saying to you is it's not a mistake that people are where they are. It's just not a mistake. Left to ourselves, do you think we would really still be pretty much at the same level of home ownership, at the same level as we were before the civil rights movement? Now, you think we'd still be here? We wouldn't. We'd be further along without outside forces making sure that we stay where we are and you stay where you are economically. The war on drugs, that was a one-sided war. The war on crack was a one-sided war. It wasn't put in place to do anything but to raid our communities. And when they raided our communities, they turned a blind eye to powder cocaine, which was skyrocketing as the Wall Street executives began to make more money and the Wall Street men and women were just raking in the cash. So was the drug use. Powder cocaine was going through the roof as well. Right now, the amount of people that are overdosing on prescription drugs is alarming. It is alarming how many people are overdosing. That's the other alarming part. The way this country is wrapping their hands around those people. We got to make sure that we take care of them. We can't put them in jail. We got to help them beat this addiction. It's dangerous. Where was that same compassion with the crack addiction era? Oh, we got to put them in jail. 3 strikes. We got to go in and Operation Red Dog and all this other stuff. Let's just keep it real for a second. If you don't see the pattern of deliberate oppression in this country, you just don't want to see it. Now, when it comes to a factor in this Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, vigilante justice could be emboldened, and that's dangerous. Anderson Cooper and Van Jones were having a conversation on CNN about the danger of vigilante justice. I'm going to play that clip in just a second, but here's what I need you to understand. I am a proponent of responsible gun ownership. Several of my friends own guns, and I don't mean deuces. That's going to sting when it hits you. I mean something that's going to incapacitate you if you run up on them. They are exercising their right to bear arms. I support that. I'm not telling anybody else to share my view or some of my colleagues' view. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why is it that it seems some people are preparing for a gunfight when we don't even want to pick up a damn butter knife? Why do you think that? Why are we so afraid of gun ownership when actually, used responsibly, it is a sound method for protection? Ladies, love y'all to death. That pepper spray, hey, I'm all for it. Also, if you live alone in your home, I would encourage you, ladies, to protect yourself, your assets, your family, and everything. Just consider gun ownership. Consider it. Because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. The danger of vigilante justice. Go ahead and roll that clip. We're going to pull that video up in just a second. We're going to get that volume up. I'll set it up for you. Anderson Cooper and Van Jones are just talking about some of the ramifications of this Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. So let's go ahead and cut to that video. Here we go.
And there's a bigger context here. This idea of white vigilante violence is something that we have to wrestle with, and it may not be done in one single court case, but we've got a pattern now where white men feel that they have the right to enforce the law themselves. When you look at Ahmaud Arbery, when you look at this case, when you look at Trayvon Martin, when you look at the white mob that attacked the Capitol, that somehow there is a group of people that thinks that they have the right to take the law into their own hands. They can leave their home with guns, and they can enforce their vision of the law on other people. That is a big problem. And whatever we could say here, talking about the legalities of it, there's a context right now on social media. The people who are celebrating this, many of them are just good folks who believe in gun rights, but there is a dark edge of people celebrating this that sees this as a green light for this type of activity. And I think we've got to take a good look in the mirror now. Do we want to, in total, continue to allow and to encourage this activity from only one section of society? You don't see other groups going out with guns imposing their vision of the law on other people, but this group continues to.
Y'all heard what he said. This group continues to. He was nice about it. He's talking about the white American male. Predominantly, the white American male feels entitled to go out and enforce vigilante justice. Let's go back and talk about the January 6th insurrection, the riot. Them fools up there going crazy in Washington, D.C., storming the Capitol, attacking police. Attacking police. Police officers lost their lives. Now, some of the people who went into the House of Representatives, they also lost their lives. They shouldn't have been in there in the first place. They actually felt like it was okay. I saw a damn video of one of the security guards opening the damn gate to let the rioters in. I should have went and pulled that one, because there's some people that doesn't believe that it actually happened like that. Yeah, some of the people who were protecting the Capitol opened or removed the damn barricades so people could get in. Yeah, they did. There are allegations that some of the Congress people gave tours of the facility to some of the people who stormed the Capitol. There is a video of a person walking, planting some incendiary devices that some people are speculating is a member of Congress. So I just need y'all to understand something. Van Jones was nice about it. Only white people do this stuff. Only white people feel like they got to enforce the law, or they get to take up arms and keep the peace and protect property. Now let's also be fair about this. I've seen some I'm going to call them Indian families, because I don't know what race they are, but I'll say some brown people who are business owners who own gas stations, hair salons, different types of businesses standing on top of their business with guns, shotguns, with bats, protecting their business. I've seen that. But the main thing is they were stationary at their own business. Only white people roll around to feel like I'm here to take care of somebody else's property and keep you in line. We got to make sure we regulate you. Okay. It's not okay. Here's the thing I want everybody to understand. The McMichael family, they did the same crap in Brunswick, Georgia. The McMichael family thought they were protecting property. They had deputized themselves. They thought that the police had actually deputized them because one of the police officers, he's on record saying, on recording rather, saying, hey, if anything happens, get in contact with McMichael. You know, he's former law enforcement. He'll help you out. Now, that sounds like you just deputized, I believe it was Greg McMichael, who's the former law enforcement person. That's what that sounded like to me. Now, on the stand, the officer came back and clarified, I never deputized him. I never authorized anything like that. We just referred to him because he knew what was going on. He could probably get to the scene faster than we could to help and assist, not deputized. So here's the facts about what happened with the Ahmaud Arbery case. Now, Ahmaud Arbery should be alive. He should actually be alive. The fact is, they followed him. The fact is, they could have called the police. They could have kept an eye on him at a safe distance and called the police. And the police could have come out and investigated. They could have retreated. They could have retreated. They made it seem like Ahmaud Arbery basically ran up and attacked us. We had to defend ourselves. That is some bullshit. What happened actually is you guys followed and tried to trap him. He ran around the truck to get away. Somebody pulled a gun on him. He didn't pull a gun on anybody. He didn't attack anybody until it became time for him to defend himself. That wasn't an attack. That was self-defense. You don't get to pursue somebody. You don't get to chase somebody and then claim self-defense. You don't get to do that. The difference between Kyle Rittenhouse is Kyle was running away. He was trying to get away. When I saw that and I did some research on Wisconsin, I'm like, yeah, they ain't gonna get him on that one, because he was trying to get away. From some of the positioning of the video, he was on his back. Somebody was on top of him. One person pointed a gun at him. I'm not saying he should have been found not guilty. I'm just saying at least there was the retreat. There was the attempt to flee, to avoid the conflict. With the case with the McMichaels, these fools went after Ahmaud Arbery. They chased, they pursued him. So when I say Ahmaud Arbery should be alive, I got a video to help substantiate what I'm saying. The prosecuting attorney, one of them, actually lays it out really, really plain with the man who actually pulled the trigger. I want you to watch this and listen to it real closely, because she breaks it down very effectively. Ahmaud Arbery should be alive. Go ahead and roll that clip. Okay, so listen. Now, we're going to get the volume on this one going, but here's what I need you to understand, ladies and gentlemen. Very effectively, this prosecuting attorney lays out the case to poke holes in everything that McMichael is saying. Now, this is the son McMichael, the younger one, the one that says, he made a comment about vermin on the Facebook group. I believe his vehicle has a Confederate flag flying on his vehicle. I also believe, based on some of the testimony, that he thought he was trained because he's trained some people when it comes to a form of, I won't call it law enforcement, I will say, what's a good word? Tactical actions is all I can think of, because he did not actually train people who were in law enforcement. They were in a different branch of the military. He taught them some types of techniques for understanding this part of the law and that part of the law. You would think, since he was a facilitator and a trainer, that he would know that he had no right to stop Ahmaud Arbery. Not one. So again, Ahmaud Arbery should be alive. We got that clip ready? Go ahead and roll that clip.
And he never yelled at you guys?
No, ma'am.
Never threatened you at all?
No, ma'am. Yeah, he did not threaten me verbally. No, ma'am.
Didn't brandish any weapons?
No, ma'am.
Didn't pull out any guns?
No, ma'am.
Didn't pull out any knife?
No, ma'am.
Never reached for anything, did he?
No.
He just ran.
Yes, he was just running.
And he never yelled at you guys?
No, ma'am.
Never threatened you at all?
No, ma'am. Yeah, he did not threaten me verbally. No, ma'am.
Didn't brandish any weapons?
No, ma'am.
Didn't pull out any guns?
No, ma'am.
Didn't pull out any knife?
No, ma'am.
Never reached for anything, did he?
No.
He just ran.
Yes, he was just running.
And he never yelled at you guys?
Yeah, okay. Now look, he was just running. He had to admit that he didn't do anything wrong. Also in the testimony, he admitted that we had no proof that he did anything wrong. He was just running. Now, when I mentioned that vermin comment, what that McMichael said on the Facebook group is something like this. They're going to mess around and find out coming on this side of town. I'm paraphrasing what he said. I'm paraphrasing what he said. Based on the way that it read, though, talking about vermin and handling things if they come on this side of town, it sounded like he was looking for a reason to do something. Now, his father called him and said, hey, the guy's here. Get your gun. They didn't have to leave with a gun. They could have just went, observed what he was doing, and called the police. I don't know if you guys remember, but when Crime Watch first started, Crime Watch, this is back in the damn day, when it first started, the number one thing the police said was observe and call the police. Don't try to stop them. Don't go and get involved. Observe what's happening and call the police. That is all that had to happen. If you thought Ahmaud was doing something, you should have called the police. Not pursued with the intent on catching him. Not pursued with the intent on telling him to stop. Not pursued like you were the authority. You were not. Ahmaud Arbery should still be alive. That's it. You didn't fear for your life. You were chasing him. You didn't fear for your life. You trapped him. You didn't fear for your life. You didn't. You went looking for it. Now, one of the defense attorneys, once again, is complaining about black pastors. First of all, you ain't got nothing to say about who anybody chooses to invite to a public courthouse. You don't get to set those rules. Everybody see what you're doing. You're trying to basically make a case for an appeal, for an overturned conviction on the appeal process. Everybody can see it because you keep bringing it up. I'm surprised the judge hadn't sat your ass down, quite frankly. You brought it up now 3 times. All that's happening is more and more black pastors are showing up. The other day it was hundreds of them. Now in the trial for the McMichaels and the other guy, I can't think of his name, who was recording, Closing arguments start next week. Deliberations, jury deliberations, could possibly start as soon as Wednesday of next week. Now, of course, you have the Thanksgiving break and all of that stuff, but it's coming up very quickly. The original goal was to try to have everything done before Thanksgiving. I believe by a week from Monday, I think that'll be like the 28th or 27th or something like that. It might be the 29th. I believe by the 29th of November, 28th of November, one of them, we will have a verdict in this trial. All I'm going to say is this. If the McMichaels and that third guy are found not guilty, there is nothing else anybody, any person in any white community has to say about this injustice system. There is nothing else. You shouldn't have anything to say, first of all, because of what happened to Mike Brown. You shouldn't have anything to say about what happened, what happened to Tamir Rice. You shouldn't have anything to say. You shouldn't have anything to say if you really look at what happened to Walter Scott or to Breonna Taylor. You know, I can keep on going. I could go for the rest of the show and name people who were murdered by the police with nobody being held accountable. Freddie Gray. I mean, I could literally do that. And you think they all deserved it. They were criminals. That's all you allow your brain to process. They deserved it. They were criminals. Even criminals are not supposed to be executed. Even criminals are supposed to have a trial in front of a jury of their peers. Charles Manson got a damn jury trial. Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. There's some people who are actually mass murderers. What's the young kid, Dylan Ruth? Dylan Ruth actually killed somebody. Not just somebody, 9 people in a church. In a church, taken alive. You see no problem with that. Laquan McDonald in Chicago, running away from the police, shot all those times, and guess what the police did? They lied. They lied and said he was brandishing a weapon and coming towards me. He just shot him. They lied. So when you say, oh, they were just criminals, that's a reflection of your cognitive dissonance. That's a reflection on you. So again, if this thing rolls up and Ahmaud Arbery, the people who killed him, are found not guilty, you know, I'm not advocating in any form, any type of violence. I am saying that that will be a very, very clear indicator that this system has to be revamped because it just is not working. The whole thought process behind it has to be reworked because it's just not doing what it's supposed to do for everybody. It's only doing what it was designed to do for white folk. Time out for that stuff. All right, look, here's the part that I need y'all to understand. We are not suspicious. We are not suspicious. Just because we are where you are and you don't think we should be there, that doesn't mean you have the right to get us in trouble. If we're just walking down the street, guess what? We can do that. We can walk down the street in your neighborhood, just like you can walk down the street in our neighborhood. It is what it is. We don't have to conform to your desire to know what we're doing. Now, I'm going to say maybe a year and a half ago, a lady in Buckhead was going into her own subdivision, a gated community, and the white man in front of her would not move his car because he didn't think she should be there. She was driving a nice SUV. He was driving a nice Toyota Camry. But for some reason, he felt compelled to stop her from coming in the subdivision, as if she didn't deserve to be there, and he refused to get out of the way. He called the police. The police came up to her, questioning her. No, get the hell out of the way. I live here. I don't have to prove to the police that I live here. I live here. No police, just because he called the police on me, doesn't mean you come up and investigate me. No, you tell him to get out of the damn way. It's not on the police to come and check what I'm doing because a white person says we need to investigate him. That's part of the problem. I want y'all to see this video. We are not suspicious. Go ahead and roll that clip. All right, it's coming right on up. Here we go.
Hoodie, freaking black guy.
That's why then off-duty DeWitt police officer Chad Vorse decided to follow Alexander Hamilton, a black teenager who was driving this van in Vorse's neighborhood. Vorse says he thought the teen was breaking into cars and even told Hamilton that when he confronted him, as you can hear in this clip from a Michigan State police trooper that repeated what Vorse said.
He told the kid right to his face, he's like, when I see a black guy in my neighborhood, that, I think you're doing stuff like this.
This was the end of a disturbing interaction between Hamilton and Vorse that started minutes before this 911 call was made.
It's a black male hanging out in the area, and he needs to be checked.
It was 7:15 a.m. on January 14th, 2021, when Vorse came up on Hamilton in this van and asked if he needed directions. Hamilton responded with, "I'm just doing me." So Vorse backed up and drove behind him.
So I tried to back up, reverse around him so I could talk to him. He just kept backing up and kept backing up. So eventually, I just pulled off and just left the whole neighborhood.
Hamilton's license plate was covered with dirt, so Vorse couldn't get his plate numbers. And he continued to follow Hamilton out of the neighborhood. When he tried to back up and talk to him again, Vorse thought he was trying to back into his truck.
He just tried to ram me.
And after multiple times,
he's trying to ram me. I'm going to go shots fired if he does it again.
But minutes later, Vorse pointed his gun at Hamilton while he was still in his van, so Hamilton drove off towards a gas station. That's where you can see them driving around the gas pumps until they both stop. Vorse gets out and points his gun at Hamilton. A witness statement says that Vorse threatened to shoot Hamilton. Another witness said he was shocked at Vorse's behavior.
It just seemed like this gentleman just did not have control of his own emotions, and therefore couldn't be control of the situation he was in.
Even officer statements highlighted Vorse's aggressiveness.
Yeah, I need y'all to understand. I'll recap the rest of the video for you. The off-duty officer took it upon himself to pursue someone who was working delivering newspaper. Now, when he said, "Do you need directions?" Do you know what that sounds like? Sundown towns. Sundown towns. You don't want to be around these parts after the sun goes down. No Negroes after sundown. For some reason, this off-duty police officer, who did not identify himself as a police officer, felt compelled to investigate what this guy was doing and then said, "I'm going shots fired if he comes at me again." You went after him. You felt like he shouldn't have been in your neighborhood. You wanted to, regulate the Negroes. That's what you wanted to do. That whole mentality permeates far too many police precincts in this country. It's because the current way that police is structured, or policing is structured, it has its roots in slave patrols. Slave patrols. So if it's rooted in that, you can't be mad for the type of fruit that it bears because of the roots of law enforcement in this country. So when you hear people say defund the police, they are not talking about abolish a means of protecting life and property. That ain't what they're talking about. They're talking about this structure that will protect a police officer and allow him to go from one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction with no accountability, no, with his records being practically sealed and unavailable to the public, with his entire disciplinary history being off limits, being protected by the police union. You know, Republicans talk about every damn union there is except for the police union. With all those things being in place, you cannot be surprised with what's happening when you have interactions with the law enforcement community, who are supposed to protect and serve the public, and the public that has been historically underserved by law enforcement. You cannot be surprised by that, because guess what? That's the exact way that the system was designed. It was designed to work that way. We protect a certain class of citizens and we control another class. We're not suspicious. But God, dog, sometimes we just lose our own damn mind. Now, young Dolph was murdered a couple of days ago. Now look, I'm going to talk about police and law enforcement and over-policing our communities all the time. I'm also going to talk about things like this. Now, young Dolph in his home was doing good things. He was very active in the community. He was doing things to support, to help people as much as he can. He was patronizing, if I'm not mistaken, he was patronizing a black-owned business, a business that he had promoted a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken. And as of today, 3 black men were identified as his killers. 3. Now, what was that, Joe? Okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. The 3 men that were found were acting a fool at a candlelight vigil, shooting at the candlelight vigil. So I guess right now they haven't found his killers as of yet. So from what I saw earlier, I thought they had identified those men as the killer. I guess those men were the ones they got from the candlelight vigil. So here's where we are, though. When we're talking about the rap industry, I believe that in the last 5 years, I got to go back and check my numbers, I believe it's about 200 rappers that have been shot or shot and killed in the last 5 years. Now, I want you to understand, you can't keep rapping about thug life. You got to know what Tupac meant when he said thug life and what you mean when you say thug life. You can't keep rapping about violence and be surprised when people act violently towards you. I remember when hip-hop and rap music first started, it was all about the battle. People bragging about stuff they ain't got. Now, people still bragging about stuff they ain't got, but then there was this part of an uplifting message that was found woven into the lyrics. Some of the messaging was funny. Some of it was, they would spin a yarn, if you will, hip-hop wise. They would talk about the police. They would talk about education. They would talk about all types of stuff. It was a variety of things that the rappers were rapping about. And, variety is the spice of life, right? Well, right now, all the damn rap sounds the same. All the rappers doing the same thing, same type of videos for the most part. You got maybe 3 other rappers that's doing something different. But the large mass of rappers, the large mass of rap industry stuff, it's the same stuff, the same beat pretty much with a different rhythm over it. So I got this video about the investigation of the killing of young Dolph. I want to play that video, then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Kayla, police say they are at that location for precautionary measures.
That's right, Merle and Daryl. As you mentioned, it is strictly for precautionary measures, and we've been out here since about 6:30 tonight. The focus is that restaurant, Privé restaurant, that you mentioned just before you tossed to me. Now, as you mentioned, it is a restaurant that's owned by Yo Gotti, and we're told his family runs it according to the Facebook page for the restaurant. Now, since we've been out here at 6:30, there have been people driving by just to see why the cops are here. There were some rumors circulating on social media earlier today saying that the restaurant was shot up. I'm here to say that those rumors are not true. There's no indication that any shots were fired. We did also confirm that with Memphis police. Now, as a factor of that, some of the other shopping centers here also closed. So this Ross Just for Less that you see over here, there's also a GNC and Nicole Beauty and Wigs. They were advised by Memphis.
Okay, my bad, folks. I pulled the wrong video. That's on me. That's on me. I will tell you, though, that, what's the, is it Soulja Boy? They had a beef with Young Dolph? Okay. So they were beefing, and Soulja Boy came out and said, hey, just a couple of days ago, you were going off on me. You were coming at me. Now I'm supposed to change up and be like, oh, rest in peace, this, that, and the other. Yeah, you absolutely are. I mean, damn, at some point, you got to have some type of class. At some point, don't get it twisted. At the height of their damn beef, Biggie and Tupac's beef, at the height of it, when Tupac was murdered, do you know what Biggie did? He was like, whoa, you know, hey, a beef is one thing, but you never wish death on anybody. Never. I need you to understand at some point, you got to have just a little bit of damn class. When he made the video, he was rolling one up. Now, you can smoke if you want to. You do whatever you want to do. But he rolled it up like it ain't no big deal, and then talking all this stuff about, you know, I ain't messing with him while he was alive. Why I got to mess with him when he's dead? Damn. And his whole thing was, and I read some of the comments, goddamn Soulja Boy, he keep it real. All y'all stupid. That's just dumb as hell. Death is it. I mean, that's it. So if you cannot let something go after somebody passes away, well, then you the damn fool. You the fool. I don't even know what they were beefing about, but I can guarantee you what. It was probably over some dumb shit. Dumb shit. That's all I got on that one, man. Listen, I need y'all to really, really understand me. White people are worried about educating little white people on how bad they treated little black people. I need y'all to understand me. When integration was going on real big in this country, and Ruby Bridges had to go to school, I listened to her, I want to say a couple of months ago, and she was talking about the kids who wanted to play with her. The kids in her classroom who wanted to play with her. And they've said, my mother told me I can't play with you. My parents told me I can't play with you. I need you to understand this. Those parents poisoned their children. Poisoned their children. And now, those adult children don't want you to know how bad, those adult children don't want their children to know how bad their grandparents were. How poorly their grandparents treated black people. So when you hear people talk about critical race theory, and we don't want our kids to learn that, first of all, they don't even know what it is. Second of all, it ain't being taught in elementary schools, in middle schools, or in high schools. It's not being taught there anyway. But you're also hell-bent on not giving a holistic view of history, that you would do anything to prevent people from knowing how bad your grandparents treated my grandparents. It's ridiculous. This is that vicious cycle right here. You can find pictures of people protesting school boards that look like the people who are protesting integration. They look exactly the same except the clothes are different. They got the same hate-filled expression on their faces. Instead of the sign saying integration, they say no critical race theory. Even though critical race theory ain't even in the picture right now. It's not even a part of the curriculum. They don't want the teacher to do anything that makes their kids feel uncomfortable. Teach them the good stuff. Let them be kids. How do you think little black kids feel being taught your story and never hearing anything about their story until February? And then zipping through it real quick in February. How do you think the kids in Texas for Halloween who were allowed to run around with Ku Klux Klan costumes on, how do you think those kids were able to do those types of things unless they had the permission or the tacit permission of the administrators and the teacher who let that foolishness go on? How do you think the kids in Georgia feel about being suspended after a Confederate flag was allowed to fly on the campus, but then when they wanted to protest against it, they were suspended, and then only the black kids or the Hispanic kids were suspended. The white kids who were protesting, they were not suspended. So let's talk about critical race theory and why it's needed. I got a video that shows just how manipulative some people in positions of authority can be. Anything that shakes them up, we can't do that. We got to censor that. American exceptionalism. We got to make sure we keep that front of mind. If something is so exceptional, it can withstand scrutiny. If something is so solid, it can withstand pressure and heat and all types of outside stimuli because it's filled with quality. It's built on quality. But y'all know, they know there are a whole lot of holes in the story of American exceptionalism, and there's a whole lot of trauma under the underbelly of the American system. But let's watch this video real quick, why critical race theory is needed. Go ahead and roll that clip. Yes, sir.
And read some of the excerpts. I want you to
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Because I refuse to read it. MF, I'm talking about GD. These words come out of my grandchildren's mouth. I don't care what the context is. Somebody's in serious trouble. But it's very sad that these books are allowed in our libraries, and you took out Huck Finn, you took out Tom Sawyer, and To Kill a Mockingbird, a book that literally almost made me cry. I'm sorry, but as a Christian, I just cannot sit by and watch this.
I have always been a lover of books. But when I think about Romeo and Juliet, two people kill themselves because they in love. In those books, it referenced people that look like me with very bad words. Libraries give you choice. You can't censor when it's uncomfortable for you because that's just life. Life is uncomfortable. We are not making this mandatory in curriculum. These are choice books. We cannot feel like everybody wants to do what we want to do. And nobody's saying that some of the language is okay, but when I was reading To Kill a Mockingbird and it seemed like they was singing the word nigga, I wasn't comfortable with that. And you're right, Rhonda. That is one of the classic pieces of literature of all times, and it does break your heart. But for me, I'm sure my heart was broken differently from why your heart was broken. Nothing is different. That is the reality for some of our kids. But somebody is making money off of CRT, which is critical race theory, that has nothing to do with K through 12 educational pedagogy, all because they want to instill fear. Representation matters. We can't just teach people what we want them to know. If you all sit back and look, Rhonda, in a few minutes, we might be reliving To Kill a Mockingbird. The way the world is going some days, I pray it doesn't, because I ain't going back. We are working with a melting pot here, and it don't look just one color. So we have to be careful when we begin to want to censor things, because then what are we going to start doing, censoring math books? When is it going to stop? I don't agree with the language all the time in books. No, I don't. But you cannot start to censor stuff, because if we was going to censor, then I got a whole lot I want to censor.
Ms. Hill. like a fact check. Rhonda Thurman said Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, and that To Kill a Mockingbird is not in any of the libraries in Hamilton County schools. In this room, I'd like us to be very much about fact.
Man, listen. When she said pedagogy, I was like, boom, on that ass. And then in the end of the video, the fact check, all the books that Rhonda said was taken out of the library, they were in fact still in the library. And as the type of Christian she is, she just can't take her granddaughter or grandchild being exposed to those books. Now, look, I'm not going to disparage anybody's religious beliefs. Nobody's. I am going to ask the question, at what point does this Christian society, at what point are they going to take it serious? I mean, there's some Christian people that go to church faithfully. They're some of the nastiest people as far as their attitudes, their disposition, and the way they treat others. Some of the nastiest people you will ever meet in your life. There's some people that are in Congress right now that swear by the Bible. The Constitution isn't designed around the Bible at all. They feel like because they swear on the Bible, they have to uphold the Bible. No, they take an oath to uphold the Constitution. They put their hand on the Bible to show how seriously they take their oath. And they don't. They don't take it serious. It's a convenience for them. It's a convenience. I get to throw around my Christian title when it's convenient, and I can use that to justify my actions. I can use it to justify my disdain, my distrust. I can use it to justify all of that stuff because I'm a good Christian believer. No, you don't act like it. You act like a hate-filled individual, a resentful individual. Anytime I can hear somebody sit up there and talk about black pastors and then conflate a lynch mob to an assembly, a peaceful assembly of black faith leaders, that tells you all you need to know about some parts of this country, this state, and the way some people who call themselves Christians actually are. Good gracious. The defense attorney in the McMichael trial, I can't think of the third guy's name, might be Brody, something like that, I can't remember. But that man's attorney basically said that these black pastors are like a lynch mob. Wow. I'm trying to remember when a black person has ever lynched anybody in this country. Never. You know what? I'm not going to say never. I have not found any proof that any black person has ever lynched anyone in this country. To clarify, when slaves revolted against their slave master, I don't consider that to be a lynching. Because who said that it was okay for you to enslave somebody? You know what? They used the Bible to say that was okay. Well, the slaves who rebelled, they weren't Christian. They were human. They just wanted to be free. They didn't want to be oppressed anymore. But the Christian philosophy at that time was, it's okay if I oppress you because I got the good book. Come on now. Again, I'm not disparaging anybody's Christian faith. You know, that I believe that's a personal choice. I believe it's an individual choice, and you have the right to believe what you believe, not at the expense of someone else. Your Christian belief doesn't empower you over anybody else. This is not a Christian nation. Don't get it twisted. We were not founded on Christian principles. Don't get it twisted. The founding fathers, part of the reason why, not the sole reason, but part of the reason why they were leaving the British Empire was because of the oppressive church. the oppressive church. Don't get it twisted. Thomas Jefferson rewrote the Bible, removing all references to a supreme being. Don't get it twisted. These men who founded the country, they were devoutly spiritual. They had their own religious beliefs, but they hated the state-endorsed church. And they were firm believers in the separation of church and state. This country was not founded as a Christian country. It just wasn't. Somebody lied to you and told you it was. That aside, again, I will say that your spiritual beliefs and choices, those are yours to enjoy and use how you see fit. But the influence of your religion stops at the end of your fingertip and at the tip of your nose. But it doesn't allow you to legislate over someone else's body, over someone else's actions. Do no harm with your spiritual belief. That's like your own Hippocratic oath. All right, y'all. Look, I've been going hard in the paint for 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit. Laura Ingraham is an absolute imbecile. I mean, look, I watch Fox News because I like to have a well-rounded perspective on the issues. So I listen to NPR primarily. I watch CNN. I watch Fox. I watch it all because I want to see how they're covering the same topic. So when I engage someone in conversation, reasonable, respectable discourse or debate, I got a wealth of places to draw from. But Laura Ingraham, this is the woman who told LeBron James to shut up and dribble several years ago. Laura Ingraham is an absolute imbecile. Don't get it twisted. I don't mean to insult people who may not have high IQs by comparing Laura Ingraham to a person with a lower IQ. I apologize to the people if I'm insulting you with a lower IQ. But Laura Ingraham is a straight imbecile. One of her own guests was making a point about a television show, and she's so dense that she didn't even get it. It's gone viral. I want you to see Laura Ingraham and the exchange with one of her guests and how towards the end of it, he is completely flabbergasted because she just doesn't understand you. Roll that clip for me.
All those woke storylines in so many shows today. You know, I was watching an episode of You where measles came up.
Wait. When did I mention measles?
I don't know. It was on You.
What was on me? What are you talking about? Is Raymond even hearing what I'm saying? I never had the measles.
Was on You.
We never did a measles and vaccine episode. Is this a joke?
I know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It was on You. It was on You.
I've never had measles. What are you talking about? This is stupid.
It was an episode of a show, Laura.
What's it called?
You.
What is he talking about?
It's called You.
I've never done a show on measles. I just completely give up. We got to get out of
It's a show
I give up.
called You on Netflix.
There's a show called Laura Ingraham on Netflix. What are you
Never
talking
mind.
about?
I'm moving on to Adele. I can't explain this to you.
What's he
The
talking
pop
about?
singer had an open.
Okay. The man said it's a show on Netflix called You. Laura Ingraham is so self-absorbed that she thought he was talking about her. There's a show on Netflix called Laura Ingraham? I mean, now look, her ignorance is bliss. She's never heard of Joe. She's never heard of You. 3 seasons of it, she never. Okay, hey, it happens. I think it's 3 seasons. Yeah, it's 3 seasons. But the bottom line of it is, he broke it down. He said, there is a show on Netflix called You. He didn't say called Laura Ingraham. He said it's called You, and she's so dense, she still didn't get it. I don't understand. First of all, I don't understand. And second of all, I still don't understand how you couldn't comprehend what he was saying. She's a talking head, as Bill O'Reilly used to say. She's just a talking head. When they try to act like they're not mainstream news, they're saying that to make you think they are news, when in fact, they're opinion people. I do the same thing they do. I sit here and talk about current events and share my opinion. I don't give the news. I might show an article or a clip that displays the news, but I'm actually not reporting the news. I'm reporting opinion. Laura Ingraham is reporting opinion, but she's in a studio. She brings guests in just like a news organization does. So she's lying to you actually, because she'll bring somebody in and she'll give a slanted view on a topic, and some people take it as fact and not opinion. If you don't believe me, go back and look at what Sean Hannity said when they were they subpoenaed him to have him talk about his role and some things that happened. Dude said, hey, I'm an opinion guy. I'm not giving news. Anybody who thinks that I'm giving you the news, I can't see why they would draw that conclusion, because he's talking opinion. Fox, for the most part, talks opinion. They have a few straight up news people. Shepard Smith used to be one of them. He got sick of them and left. He had a big contract with them. He got sick of them because everybody else, all they talked about were things that skewered the facts. Oh, here's a good case in point. When President Joe Biden was talking about the Negro League, they spliced the video to make it seem like he was talking about Satchel Paige and calling Satchel Paige a good Negro. They actually edited the video to make it seem like he had another stumble with his words. And he didn't. They just spliced the video that way. Now, I'll tell you one thing that he didn't stumble over, Joe Biden, that is, President Joe Biden. He didn't stumble when he said that I believe that the jury has spoken and the jury system in our country works. That was his first statement after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. That's what he said. Now, he's come back and said something different. We got to really look at this, but it's too late now, player. You said what you said. You meant what you said. Don't back away from it now. You meant what you said. If nothing else, have the guts to stand behind what you said. You're killing me. All right. I got to loosen it up a little bit. I got a little tight over here. I might have to have a cigar after I leave. But here we go. Sometimes I feel a little petty. I ain't even gonna front. I feel a little petty. Now, I usually don't act on my petty feelings because I'm too old for that. It's like Snapchatting. I'm not snapping. I'm not chatting. I'm too old for it. Sometimes I'm too old to be petty. But if I actually was petty, I would be the pettiest I would just be a pro at it. I ain't even gonna front. I would be an absolute pro. But the petty pirate, this is a short clip. The petty pirate is actually pretty doggone funny. I want you to see the level of pettiosity that this man executes on. It's actually hilarious. So I'm going to play this short clip. This is the petty pirate. We'll talk about that later. Go ahead, roll the clip. When I tell you the petty pirate, I mean, it's absolutely hilarious how petty he is. Did you hear the lady, how she screamed when that rubber band or that workout band snapped and popped on her back? I mean, you can imagine how bad it hurt. That was for the ancestors. I wish I had my bell. Bing! Don't worry about it. We're good. All right, now, we're getting close to the end of the show. But last week, I let y'all know what would happen if Popeyes had a delivery service, right? I need y'all to understand something. Chick-fil-A, you don't want to work at Chick-fil-A and not meet the Chick-fil-A standard. You think Chick-fil-A just got the way they are just because they are just, oh, we're all wholesome people. We all love each other. We love you too. Take some extra sauces. You think that happened by mistake? No, 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 no. I actually got in contact with some people who went behind the scenes to show us how Chick-fil-A achieves such a high level of customer service. This is the other side of working for Chick-fil-A. I want you ladies and gentlemen to watch this clip and pay close attention to the work that's required to achieve this level of excellence. Go ahead and roll that clip.
Remember what she came here and asked you for yesterday? You remember what she told her?
That the ice cream machine was broken?
Look, I don't know where you worked at before here. Quite frankly, I don't even really care. But that shit, that ain't gonna fly here. Not in the slightest. You told her that the ice cream machine was broken. Now, I'm not even gonna ask you why you told her that, when you and I both know that ain't the case.
Look, sir, I promise you, all right? I honestly thought that...
I don't give a fuck! Do this look like McDonald's to you?
Woo! Does it look like McDonald's to you? Chick-fil-A's ice cream machine don't break down, player. I mean, I understand the force of habit. You're so used to the ice cream machine at McDonald's being broken down, but Chick-fil-A don't play that, player. It ain't that type of party. Not at Chick-fil-A. That's just not how they roll. All right, I need y'all to understand something. I got one last clip, and then I'm gonna let y'all have it. Pets are absolutely amazing. Pets are amazing. If you think they're just dumb animals, you never owned a pet. They can be sneaky. They can be funny. They can play jokes. Pets are amazing. Now, if my children are watching, or my daughter and my granddaughter watching, we ain't getting no dog. We ain't getting one. Sorry, not gonna happen. But they're amazing. I found this video of a dog singing, and then someone duetting the video with the dog singing. Listen to the dog. The dog is actually, hitting different notes. A little bit of modulation is happening. But I need you to understand, that dog was actually singing on purpose. So we're going to play this clip right here. This dog is going to sing the background. But watch how the brother brings music to what the dog started. Go ahead and roll that clip. Dog sings background.
Man, I ain't never had this happen before. Heart broke so deep. Heart broke so deep. It broke into a melody like this. She's a runner, she's a track star. She's gonna run away when it gets hard. She can't take no pain, she can't get scarred. She hurt anyone that gets involved, and it made me cry. Don't run away, girl, stay with me tonight. Please don't run away, girl. Do-ba-dee, do-ba-do, do-ba-dee, do-ba-do. Don't run away, girl. Yeah.
Don't act like y'all didn't hear that dog singing. Don't like the vibrato was going up. Don't act like y'all didn't hear it. I know y'all. I heard it. If I heard it, I know you heard it. I mean, the dog needs a record contract because he sounds like some of these artists, or better than some of them. For real though, I ain't playing. For real. All right, listen. We do this every Saturday from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. right here on Manifest TV. Manifest TV is powered by the Status Network. I need you to follow us on all social media. Instagram is manifesttv.status. Facebook is manifesttv.status. Twitter is status_network_. We are on the Amazon Fire Stick and Roku. We are also found at Status Network and Manifest TV on the Amazon Fire Stick and Roku. And you can find us on YouTube as Manifest TV. Renee is on Instagram as Pretty Eyes. That's PrettiIiz on Instagram. That's where you can find her. You can find me as Talk with Jeffery on all social media platforms, except for Snapchat. Once again, I'm not snapping and I'm not chatting. I'm still too old for that. Your brother Joe held it down with the producing today. Yannette Keith, once again, you my office girlfriend. I love that picture of your hair all blown out. Jack Trey, he pays all the bills. It's been a whole lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. And to your family, happy Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate happy Thanksgiving, enjoy time with your folks. And we'll see you back real soon because we are out.
And there you have it. Thanks for joining us on Let's Talk About It Live with Jeffery and Renee. Watching is the best decision you'll ever make. And make sure you join us next Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. only on www.statusnetwork.net. Jeffery, Renee.